Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Salty Dog Podcast.
Let's get salty!
What's up, guys? I'm Clash. He's Dookie. Welcome to another episode of the Salty Dog Podcast.
We're back again, once again.
We didn't take 2 weeks off this time.
No, we didn't. We took 0 weeks off like we're supposed to.
Can you believe it?
We're like good boys. We're good boys.
So, how's your week been, Dookie?
My week has been fine.
Oh,
are we talking?
wow.
Are we talking Hearthstone wise? Because I've been playing that Tavern Brawl a whole lot because I have the Win 5 quest.
Oh, that's brutal.
And it's like probably one of the worst Tavern Brawls to have a Win 5 during. So that's been fun.
Yeah, I don't like this Tavern Brawl at all. It's
just Crossroads,
boring. Yeah.
right? It's just Crossroads, but with the
cart crash. Yeah.
discover another class for your class, and then it's
Sounds like it would be so much cooler than it is, because I've thought of that so many times. Like, man, if I could just use another class's cards in this deck, like I'm always thinking of like how I could like break things, you know?
Right?
But then they just give you the most crap, like non-synergistic cards. And I'm like, this is Tavern Brawl. It doesn't have to be nerfed for no reason.
Yeah, they fill your deck
that.
with bullshit.
Exactly.
Like, it's
like,
bad.
why? Yeah.
Yeah.
There's no point to how bad they make it.
That's been the majority of what I've been doing. A little bit of secret mage ladder.
Now we're talking. That's better.
That's a fun deck, but as we will discuss later, I also hate it. So it's one of those. It's like it's fun to use, but it's not fun to play against.
I end up in that position a lot where when I start using a deck, actually one of the cards that's actually in that deck ends up on my saltiest card list a lot.
Yeah,
which is so funny because I mean it's usually a deck a lot of other people are playing, and then it gets played on me, and I'm like, man, this card's fucking annoying.
Yeah.
And then I notice like how bad it is when I play it on my opponents too.
This is what I'm doing to people.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm a bad person. Yeah. I had a mage quest, and I was just looking at the good mage decks, and I saw that control mage was like top dog, and I was like, I'm not fucking using control mage. And then still like tier 1 was secret mage, just a little further down the list, and I was like, let's try that. Yeah. I like it. It's like it's like a value deck. So
pretty much all mage decks are.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's still got like those like tempo-y kind of elements going on. Ridiculous mage removal and good minions, but also secrets, which create tons of value with stuff like Medivh's Valet and yada yada. It's good. It's a good deck.
It's finally gotten there. They've been trying to push secrets for a while, and finally, between Medivh's Valet and even older cards that just never have seen play, like Kirin Tormage is finally seeing its day.
Right, and like it should have to begin with, because there's not a thing wrong with Kirin Tormage.
Well, yeah, it's just, does it advance your game plan? And Mage's game plan for the longest time has just been throw burns at your face and screw secrets, so. Yeah,
and kind of like just trying to like tempo out, and I guess is Kirin Tormage 5 mana? No, it's 4 mana. That's so weird, because there's absolutely nothing wrong with that card. It's like stat-wise totally on curve. You get a free secret, like
right.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I mean, just in the past, not a lot of secrets have been played ever since like Duplicate left and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But I mean, Ice Block's always been around, but you don't need to tempo out Ice Block, so.
Right, I don't even think Ice Block is in.
No, it's not.
The build I was
using.
Which is
crazy because almost every mage deck has used that.
Yeah, that's one thing I liked about it was it didn't have that crutch. It was all very active decisions, active secrets. Yeah,
that deck's actually really weak to heal, which is interesting because shamans. I mean, other than the token shaman that's going around, which I guess is pretty rampant, like pretty good as a tier deck, but a lot of the the elemental synergy or like control shaman decks have so much heal that mages can't beat.
Yeah,
because you just heal out of their range.
Yeah, exactly.
Unless they get some serious hits on you with like a beefed mana worm.
Because there's not a lot of like that deck doesn't have like a big fatty. Well, the build that I saw ran Yogg-Saron, and that was the only card in the build that I didn't have. And so I looked at the mana. I wasn't going to craft Yogg. So I looked at the mana curve, and there were 0 5-mana cards in the deck. So I was like, okay, well, maybe I should put in a 5-mana card. So I just put in one Avian Watcher, because it's got the secret synergy, and if it comes out with +1 and taunt, it's really good. So
yeah, it's similar to the Nesting Rock, but you don't have the minions to support that one. So yeah.
And it works fine. It's the only downside to Avian Watcher is I think it works better with the less active secrets, like Ice Block. That's literally
the ones that are more guaranteed to be on. Actually, that's going to be the problem in that deck too. With Medivh's Valet, is you're using secrets that can very easily be popped the turn after you play them. So then, if you're setting up for like a turn 3 secret into a Medivh's Valet on the next turn, chances are it's going to be popped and you can't do it.
Right. So you're seeing that more on turn 5 or like 4 if you're lucky because you have like a discount for some reason.
Right.
Which comes up sometimes.
Yeah. So this is the Secret Mage edition of Salty Dog. No, it is a cool deck though. I do like it, but we have a good show today. We got a little bit of news. Well, I guess it's kind of more like sort of rumors, but we'll get into that in a second. Bringing back the homebrew segment for this show. It's just one of my decks. Dookie didn't really have anything this time, but I'm kind of psyched about the one I have. Do our salty cards, Q&A, card challenge. It's going to be good. So let's move over to our news segment for now, though.
What's happening?
Gadgets and Gazette always gets the scoop.
Time is money, friend. Keep it quick, kid. I ain't got all day.
All right, so this news, if you want to call it, is it's very timely because I feel like we're just about to start to feel like a stale meta kind of sitting in. I'm starting to feel it a little bit.
Yeah. I would say it's been that way for a few weeks.
At least a few weeks, really. Okay.
I think so. I feel like everything, the meta kind of settled and just really hasn't like changed, and there's really nothing to do besides grind ladder.
Yeah,
if that's
pick your
what you
deck
want to
and
do.
go for it. Yeah, I mean we've been in
basically
that stage for a little while, but I still feel like the decks are kind of, it's mostly settled, but there's still some sediment floating. Decks are kind of changing around a little bit, but I'm definitely starting to feel the lull, like the mid-expansion lull, and we're just about there. So speaking of the next expansion, there have been some rumors kind of floating around about what it might be, what the name might be, and what the theme of the next expansion might be.
Yeah.
And I am super psyched about it. The running theory right now is that it might be Icecrown, or specifically Return of the Lich King.
Yeah, and that's actually, whenever we would talk about what we would want to see as an expansion in Hearthstone, I think I always said Karazhan, didn't I?
I think you did, because Karazhan was always your favorite raid.
Yeah, I was always like, I want to see Karazhan, and then they did it, and it wasn't quite... It was like silly, and I wanted it to be like all awesome and spooky, but whatever, they did it, which was cool. Yeah. And you always say, I want to see Icecrown.
Nothing more than Icecrown.
So it would be awesome if that actually came to fruition.
Yeah, I think everybody just wants to see their glory days of WoW put into Hearthstone. Like, I'm not against them coming up with their own stuff, which they've kind of been doing a lot of recently.
Yeah, absolutely.
But I really hope that they do keep putting in stuff that's right from WoW, because a lot of people still play Hearthstone because it's related to WoW. I mean, I think more people play Hearthstone just because it's a card game and probably don't have any idea about WoW stuff.
Yeah. At this point, I think that's true. Originally, I don't think that was the case.
I agree.
Yeah.
But anyway, let's get into why. Why do people think that it's going to be Icecrown? What is the evidence?
What evidence do you have to support these outrageous claims, salty dog?
Let's lay this out. All right. First off, it's actually not that new of a rumor. It's just become more substantiated. The first time that it was, like, the idea of this was thrown around was actually way back when, you might remember this image here if you're live with us, or if you're watching the VOD. This was a promotional Year of the Mammoth graphic that they released. And, like, clearly, for quarter 2, I think at this point they'd already revealed on Goro where it had been spoiled. And you can, see the plants and stuff. And there's definitely a hint going on for expansion 2 over quarter 3 there. And it's got that light blue color that like frost magic always has. It's got the runes floating around it, which I'm pretty sure it's confirmed that none of them actually match a specific rune, like on the Frostmourne or anything, but it looks very much like those runes. And you know, Death Knights, Arthas, all of them are about runes, and these are very runic.
Yeah.
I mean, I can definitely see it.
I will say that some of them look very Death Knight rune-ish.
Right.
Actually, it's all the ones that are in the background.
On the paper, yeah.
On the paper. The ones on the paper look very Death Knight-y. The ones floating out look more like arcane, like more magey. Mm-hmm. So it's a little ambiguous there.
Definitely is, but you know, there was a lot with Dalaran mages, you know, and everything going on in Northrend during the whole Icecrown thing. So they're not necessarily like mutually exclusive or anything.
Right. It could be a Northrend themed expansion rather than being you know, completely just centered on Icecrown or something.
True, but there are so that was like the first thing, and that came out a while ago, so that's not even really news. But there are a couple other things that are pointing more specifically towards Icecrown, and let's move on to those. So basically, there was a Reddit thread started by user PenguinJ2, and he made 3 main points, and I just have those word for word right here. His first main point was Return of the Lich King was trademarked 4 months ago by Blizzard. And that is very interesting because, I mean, you know, it could be any Blizzard game, obviously, that we're talking about here, including World of Warcraft. This could be a reason that they took out this domain. But it doesn't seem like it would really mesh with what's going on currently in the game.
Right. That wouldn't make a ton of sense. I feel like Legion is still pretty like fresh with people.
They just came out with like a big new patch.
Yeah, big content. And it's copyright, so I mean, obviously they're gonna be planning ahead for stuff like that. So if the next WoW expansion was Return of the Lich King, which I think would be dumb and boring, and I don't know why they would do that.
Right.
Because it's like we've done that. Like it'd be. Well, then again, there was Burning Crusade, and now there's Legion. So I don't know. Yeah. So I guess nothing is. Yeah, whatever. But anyway, yeah, I guess it could be WoW. It probably wouldn't be Heroes of the Storm. It doesn't seem like they'd do like a totally WoW-centric.
Nothing crosses over quite as much as Hearthstone and WoW. I really feel like we're looking at one of those two things being the reason.
Yeah, I wouldn't rule out WoW, but
exactly.
It also seems possible. But there's more evidence.
There is more. So, Return of the Lich King, trademarked by Blizzard. I actually kind of combined these 2 points into 1 point, but the second one is returnofthelichking.com was parked by GoDaddy 4 months ago. Right. So that happened simultaneously. Clearly, it was a move by Blizzard. So they've trademarked the name Return of the Lich King for something that, I mean, you know, this is Blizzard. Maybe it's something that'll never be released or ever even announced. Maybe this is something they're just kicking around. But they also got the domain. Clearly, they're planning on, you know, having their bases covered if they do launch with something named Return of the Lich King.
Yeah.
And then the last one is the last 2 ranked card backs that, well, actually, only one of them is currently out, the Sunwell one, and then we're getting this one at the end of this ranked season, which is going to be the Dalaran one. And I have those pictures here. So you've got the Sunwell on the left and the Dalaran one on the right there, which is the one that we're getting at the end of this month. And the reason that Penguin J2 says that this is another hint towards Icecrown is because the Sunwell and Dalaran were both places that Arthas visited after he, you know, started his whole crusade as the Lich King.
Yeah.
And they're actually in that order as well. He hit the Sunwell and then he hit Dalaran.
Right.
Which I'm not even really sure, like, what all, like, went down in those places, but, I mean, that's what he says happens.
Yeah. This is one of those things that, like, it really could be a hint. Because Blizzard's pretty savvy about, like...
Yeah.
You know, they're sneaky, and they're paying attention, and they like to interact with the fans, and they like to engage people. So I could definitely see them doing something like dropping hints about expansions through card backs or whatever. And I mean, it is true. If you look at Arthas's campaign, as he was kicking ass and taking names, it was the Sunwell and then Dalaran, right in that order. So I mean, it's maybe a coincidence, maybe not. It's also interesting that card back, the Dalaran card back, doesn't look like particularly Dalaran-y. It looks like maybe Dalaran getting attacked, blown up. I don't know.
I don't know. Yeah, where it seems like the fire is coming from.
There's some red, orange, yellow lava looking something. I wouldn't see that and think Dalaran.
Yeah, I kind of agree with you. I don't really see much of the Dalaran to me. I mean, it's definitely got like the purple in the background, but I associate Dalaran with like bright, like holographic fluorescent purple. Like that's just what I picture when I think of Dalaran.
Purples and blues and like an ivory color. Like it's very like very nice, very pleasant looking. And then you got this, which I don't know. I mean, Dalaran was attacked and destroyed within a short span of time after Arthas's visit. So it could be, or it could be one of those things where you're looking too far into things.
Yeah, you're just finding things that you want to find. I mean,
find things that aren't there. But yeah, it's still interesting, and I wouldn't rule it out.
Right, but we're not even done yet, though.
Oh
so
shit!
If you're not sold.
But wait, there's more.
Just hold on to your butts, because here we move on to the next thing. So beyond just the fact that it's Sunwell and then Dalaran, which loosely relates to Arthas's campaign, the flavor text of the Sunwell card back directly deals with Arthas. It says his name right there. It's the first word. So I'll just read it out. Arthas's corruption of the Sunwell really put a damper on the tourism industry of Quel'Thalas.
Right.
So that, I mean, look.
So you could say any number of things about the Sunwell. You could say the Sunwell was used to resurrect the demon lord Kil'jaeden, or the Sunwell was the source of the High Elves' magical energy, or the Sunwell was created from a vial of water from the Moonwell, and there's all these things you could say about the Sunwell, but the thing they chose to say was Arthas 9/11 this shit. So
oh my god. Yeah, which, I mean, he didn't just visit the Sunwell in Dalaran, by the way. He brought his arm, all that they talk about. If you're a Blood Elf, all they talk about is this shit.
Yeah,
they
blew that shit up, and the
we
Blood
must
Elves
cleanse the Sunwell.
Yeah, the Blood Elves are #never forget.
Oh, absolutely.
It's always too soon.
Yeah, it's never gonna be not too soon about the Sunwell for the Blood Elves. But so yeah, I mean they're referencing like two of his biggest like early victories, like the first thing that he did. So I mean, this is all just tied in with WoW lore, of course. I mean, they pull out WoW lore all the time. So this definitely isn't the 100% one way or the other. It's just it's a fun idea to talk about. But there is one more piece. This might be the most convincing thing. Maybe. I don't know. It is to me. There's one more thing. So Hearthstone data mined the following picture, which I will describe for anybody who's listening.
Yeah.
And it is a picture of Icecrown. Just like this really cool artwork. It's kind of a smaller picture. It's like really skinny, and it's just like looking straight down like the main entrance kind of Icecrown. And how much Icecrown kind of looks up at the top, like Arthas's helmet and everything. Like,
so where did they data mine this from, and when?
I don't know exactly, but it definitely came from something. I think it was maybe even like we had a patch recently, and whenever there's a patch that comes in, people data mine it and try to see what they can find out of it. And I don't know. So
it was a recent addition.
Yeah. I don't know. I can't say for sure exactly. I couldn't find like exactly where Hearthstone dug this up. They just kind of released it like, hey, well, look what we found. But they wouldn't have said it if it wasn't somehow related to Hearthstone in a way.
Yeah. I mean, Blizzard's not stupid, and they know that if they include any piece of information that can be data mined, it will be data mined, and people will infer what they will infer, and it's either it's either it's nothing or it's something and they don't care.
Yeah,
Like,
they're leaving the breadcrumbs.
Yeah, exactly. Which, like I said, I don't think it's beyond them. I think Blizzard likes to have fun and likes to, likes to get everybody engaged and excited and talking, create buzz,
Yeah.
So this could totally be what's going on.
Yeah, I mean, if there's anything that they want, it's to avoid a lull, a mid-expansion lull. And it would make so much sense for them to start this breadcrumb trail at this point when everybody's going to start just pining for the next expansion.
Yeah,
like, we're almost
waiting,
to that point. Like, another month and everybody's going to be like, when is the next expansion coming? I can't handle this anymore.
Yeah, totally.
So, yeah, just, something fun to kind of speculate about and everything.
Yeah. No,
I hope it's true, honestly.
I feel like it's getting kind of ridiculous how quickly the thrill of a new expansion wears off, because I feel like it's just gotten like worse. Like, I don't know, we're all just like crackheads, and we just like
we're addicted to that hearth rock,
We want more. Like we like, oh, new expansion. Like 2 weeks in, we're like, we're done with Ungoro. What else you got?
No, actually, I think Ungoro has overcome this more than other expansions.
Oh, I actually agree. Yeah, no, Ungoro's really solid.
Yeah, I definitely think they're on the right track with mediating how fast that happens, or mitigating, not mediating it, mitigating how quickly we get into the doldrums of the mid-expansion blues.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely is dependent on the expansion, but I feel, I don't know, maybe it's just me, but I feel an overall sense of just every time it seems faster that I'm like, okay, I get it. What else you got?
Well, it's kind of, I mean, Hearthstone's running into, I feel, a very unique problem for a card game, because, I mean, this is the most prolific digital card game that's ever been thus far, and, but I never remember, I always felt, so to compare this to Magic, I always felt behind in Magic. Like, I was never caught up to the current expansion. I was like, they're coming out with another one? Like, I just made this deck,
Right.
But the meta gets solved so quickly, and it's so public, and we're also plugged into it in Hearthstone. And it's so easy to just get up to speed with it that I think that has a lot to do with it.
Yeah, and the way they structure a game like Magic is pretty different. Like, I mean, they release expansions. Well, they may not release expansions faster, but you have to sell your internal organs to build a good deck. So, it does take longer to like get caught up, because in Hearthstone you just got to play. You don't get shit for playing Magic the Gathering against someone, you don't get dust, you don't get money, you don't get packs.
Well, I mean, if you enter tournaments and stuff, but yeah, you have to have your deck to enter tournaments. So,
exactly. So is a much higher barrier to entry, and I think that's one of Hearthstone's biggest strengths. Is it's like it's only pay to win up to a very small margin, and then it's like once everyone has the cards they need, then everyone's on an equal playing field.
Exactly, and that may be another reason that the meta starts to feel more and more stale so rapidly, is because more and more people are getting caught up to having the ability to have these meta decks.
Yeah, and they should be. Like,
exactly.
Everyone should ultimately have access to everything.
Right, I'm just saying that's probably why we start seeing less and less variance over time.
Yeah, absolutely.
But, yeah, I mean, bring on Icecrown. That's what I say. And I hope that they don't do, like, necessarily exactly what they did with Karazhan, where they make it super lolzy and everything.
Right.
But,
yeah, I don't see how. I don't know. I guess I wouldn't put anything past Blizzard, but I don't see how they could make it like really silly. But
yeah,
they're like challenge accepted.
Yeah.
They're like hold my beer.
And then then we get something ridiculous. Like, I don't know. I wasn't against Karazhan at all or anything, but I could definitely see. But I wasn't as tied to Karazhan as you were. So
right.
I was just like, whatever.
Karazhan, especially considering it came out as an adventure, which, are they not doing that anymore?
No, but it's interesting that you bring that up, because they did say at the same time when they released that promo image and they were giving us all the information that they were spilling about the Year of the Mammoth and stuff, they said that starting after Ungoro, because they didn't have time to prepare it with Ungoro, they're going to start launching expansions with single-player content.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not going to be like Adventures.
Yeah, and that's why I was so excited for Karazhan, or that's why I wanted Karazhan to be. Well, I figured it would be an adventure because it's a raid, and most raids end up being adventures. And I thought it would just have. It actually did have a lot of really cool fights that actually related to the bosses in Karazhan, which like I know Romeo and Juliet and like Big Bad Wolf. I can't remember specifically, but a lot of the fights really heavily related to how they were in WoW, and that was really cool. But there was more of an overall tone of silliness and less of the spoopiness that Karazhan did that I loved so much. But it was still cool.
Yeah, and I think there's definitely something lost when you take all of that out, because I definitely like Blizzard. I mean, maybe not so much nowadays. They've kind of gone a different route, but back in the day, like talking about Diablo 2 days and early WoW days, they were all about that drama. Just just go back and listen to the audio or watch the videos, the cutscene videos from Diablo 2. There is nothing funny about those.
Blizzard cinematics used to be like the pinnacle of fantasy, just epicness.
I know, dude. I still go back and watch those. They give me chills to this day.
Yeah, dude. I get I get such nostalgia and just oof.
I feel like the last great one they had was actually the cinematic for Wrath of the Lich King.
Yeah, I mean, I liked the Cataclysm one where Deathwing's getting his big metal band-aids hammered on, and then he busts out of the earth and all the natural disasters. Well, I guess they're not natural disasters at that point, but like all these disasters are happening, and I guess that one was really very cool and very epic and very dramatic. But the Lich King one felt so personal.
That's what I'm saying that they're going away from. Like, it wasn't explosions and magic and all this happening. Like, almost nothing happened in that cinematic, and it's still so impactful because, like, you piece together, like, who's talking. It's his father. What he's saying about his son who murders him later.
Yeah.
And then, at the end, he just resurrects Chilma or his... Sindragosa, that's right. And man, it's just so good. I hope we get a little bit of something like that.
Yeah, I guess this is a bit of a tangent. But,
no, it is, but sorry, I get caught
about the good old days. Yeah, no, that cinematic. Yeah, that hit home. It wasn't. They're all Michael Bay now, and they used to be
right.
They used to be like, I don't know. I'm trying to think of movies that are actually good.
Who directed Black Swan?
Oh, was that Aronofsky?
I don't know, but I know they almost got him for a Wolverine movie, and then everyone was like, no.
I think that was Darren Aronofsky.
Yeah. All right, so we'll go with that.
Michael Bay, now it's Aronofsky. If we're wrong about that...
No, you said it wrong. They used to be Aronofsky. Now they're Michael Bay. All right.
Anyway, so Hearthstone's a game.
Before we spend the entire show talking about an expansion that will probably never happen, that's the news on all of that nonsense. So let's let me show you this deck that I made here. Let's move on to our homebrew segments.
Something mysterious?
I hope you like my invention.
Love my new recipe for science!
All right. So, a little bit more recently, I've been missing the days of Dragon Priest, which I was a pretty big fan of Dragon Priest. Not my favorite Priest deck ever, because it was a little non-Priest-like with how on board it was, but I just got the idea. I know there's Dragon Priest lists floating around out there, but I was just like, I want to make my own. And I think, I looked at the meta deck after I made this, and I feel like it's, sufficiently different enough and kind of fills like a different kind of niche. So thought, why not? Let's talk about it. So,
Dragon.
Yeah, okay. By the way, the title, for anybody who's old enough like us to remember HomestarRunner.com, this This is totally a reference to the Trogdor episode with Strong Mad. Dragon! All right.
Anyway,
let me read through it.
I feel you. Dragon Priest is probably the only priest deck I've ever enjoyed playing.
He says so straight faced. Probably the only dragon or priest deck I've ever enjoyed playing.
Because it's so mid rangey and like it felt strong and it felt
it was
good.
Huge tempo
and
plays. Yeah.
Everything you did felt like it meant something. And yeah, so I feel you. I missed that, and it's not what it used to be. It's still good, but it's a totally different deck. It's just happens to have dragons in it.
Yeah, exactly. But I mean, the common denominator there. I mean, there are a couple, but the main one, the reason why you try to make this deck is still Draconid operative.
Oh yeah, I mean that card is busted beyond all reason.
Exactly. So all right, let me read through the list here though.
Yeah. Go ahead.
So I got 2 Northshire Clerics, 1 Potion of Madness, 2 Power Word Shield, 2 Netherspite Historian, 2 Shadow Visions, 2 Shadow Word Pain, 2 Cabal Talon Priest, 2 Shadow Word Death, 2 Stonehill Defender, 2 Defender of Argus, 2 Twilight Drake, 2 Draconid Operative, 1 Holy Nova, 2 Bookworm, 1 Dragonfire Potion, 2 Primordial Drake, and Ysera. So, the other version that's kind of going around right now doesn't run a lot of the same cards. I put Ysera back in here because that's the way to kind of to get you an edge against if you match up against a control matchup. There are other things in the other deck I've seen going around for that same purpose. I think it's running like at least Trailblazer. And I've thought about that because of the synergy between Shadow Visions and the Ungoro pack is really cool. But I also feel like there's a pretty big lack of dragons right now. And there aren't as many cards that need dragon activators now as there used to be, but I still like having like the guarantee. And Ysera is still a fantastic card. I mean, this comes down, and some people just cannot deal with this priest being one of them.
I was going to say, Ysera gives you mirror protection.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So that's like kind of my top end. A lot of it is still geared towards the early game, because I still feel like Hearthstone, for the longest time, has been, if you lose the early game, you know, you could lose the game, for all intents and purposes, by turn 3 or 4. You just get blown out. You've taken too much damage. You don't have enough board. So a lot of these things are in there for that. Potion of Madness. I was actually pretty surprised not to see any Potion of Madnesses in the kind of meta dragon deck going around. I feel okay using one-ofs of cards like Potion of Madness, Holy Nova, and Dragonfire Potion because of Shadow Visions.
Right. So, I think that's smart. I think that makes a ton of sense because you can use that card for situational discover.
Right, and there are a lot of spells in this deck, so you need to be careful when you use it. Like, hopefully you get your Power Word Shields out of the way and stuff. You don't want to grab stuff like that. But, you know, there are certain cards that are just basically includes in almost any priest deck at all. Cabal Talon Priest, just a fantastic card.
Yep.
As far as dragons, you've got not that many. You've got the Twilight Drakes, the Bookworms, the Primordial Drakes, and of course the Draconids and Ysera. But an interesting little thing is Stonehill Defender can grab you another dragon because you can discover Primordial Drake off of it.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
One thing I think you should address, and this question is brought up by Nepeta, but I agree that. You know, you should address is why no Radiant Elementals or Lyra, because I know you were mentioning this when you were building it, and it's like those are staples right now.
Unpopular opinion, that combo is hard to pull off and not worth it in every single priest deck. Now, the one that runs double Divine Spirit, double Inner Fire, all of this, you know, double Potion of Madness, that first version of, like, value, crazy tempo priest, or silence priest, whatever you want to call it, absolutely. It makes total sense in there. You're running Purify, you're running Silence, you're running all these cheap spells. And Lyra's engine is endless value, almost, if you can set it up that way with the Radiant Elementals and stuff. But as individual cards, if you don't have enough in your deck to set up that crazy turn, that miracle turn that like rogues try to do with Gadgets and Auctioneer, you know, they're just not that good. They're really like they just don't end up being that good.
Right.
They're just almost taking up slots in your deck at that point.
Yeah,
And
that makes sense.
Yeah, I didn't want to go for the more that kind of approach to value. I wanted to be more like the old Dragon Priest, essentially. You know, I want to be.
Yeah.
I want to have plays every turn. You know, I mean,
Yeah.
even if they're not huge badasses, like Stonehill Defender is just a 1/4 taunt, but there's value built in there.
Yeah.
You know, Defender of Argus, there's value built into him and protection from early game.
Yeah.
I just don't see what the Lyra package would necessarily add to this particular Priest deck's game plan.
Yeah, no, I completely agree with you. It's more combo-y. It's more
Exactly.
It's more close to the chest, whereas this deck is just trying to develop this super robust board presence and do it quickly and on curve.
Yeah.
And that's the appeal. That's why I like that deck. That's why the deck was fun to me.
So, I mean, granted, I'm not saying that this deck is better or worse than the meta deck. I have no idea. I haven't play tested it against that deck. But I built this particular one with a very specific vision in mind, and it was to be more like that Blackrock Mountain Dragon Priest. And it's been a lot of fun. I mean, I haven't gotten very far in ranked this season, but I have done, a few games with this deck. I'm sitting somewhere around rank 12 or 13, and I can absolutely pull off wins with this thing. And it's a lot of fun to use. You get all that, like, more fun value. Like, the battle cry off of Netherspite Historian and Stonehill Defender. The fun that comes from discovering. And it's just, I've been having a blast with it. And, you discover your Dragonfire Potion off of Shadow Visions, and life's good.
Yeah. No, I agree. That was one of the most fun decks I've ever played. And, I'd like to try this and see if it has the same kind of feeling.
Yeah, I mean, you're not hitting 3 5s for 3 mana, but it's got some other.
But Cabal Talon Priest is comparable.
Yeah, unfortunately, Talon Priest has a little bit of a lack of early targets, and if you are hitting them, it's like Northshire Cleric, so they're not turning into these like big badasses, But if you get him later, he's still got.
It was Twilight Whelp was the really disgusting target. Yeah.
I mean, plus the Blackrock Blackwing Technician. Remember the 2/4 that became a 3/5?
Yes.
Yeah, hitting that with Talon Priest. Oh my god, yeah.
Yeah, disgusting.
Yeah.
Downright horrendous.
Anyway, that's the deck. Try it out if you want a tempo-y kind of priest.
I'm gonna try my damnedest to have one for next week. I am just there's so many decks, and I feel like everything I've wanted to try I have tried.
Right.
So I'm not insanely inspired right now, but I'm gonna take a close look at the current library and see if there's anything fun that I want to try to piece together. So I don't have one this week, but
yeah. That's all I'm ever trying to do. I was just like, I try to make these decks, especially, always the ones that I bring for this segment, I make without looking at anything. I just kind of go in, and I'm just like, this is what I think would be good. And that's what's fun to me about it.
Yeah,
that's what I like to do with it.
Yeah.
I did want to mention one other thing. One card that I'm really iffy about, but has really pulled off some crazy stuff for me so far, is Holy Nova. Holy Nova, I mean, you could just be like, why don't you just run 2 Dragonfire Potions? It's so much better. But Holy Nova plus Northshire Cleric has done, like, almost my miracle turn for me. Because you got, all these high health dragons, and then you can trade, and then Holy Nova and draw a bunch of cards.
No, yeah, Dragonfire Potion's great and all, but not everything you have is a dragon, first of all.
Yeah.
And Holy Nova can create some insane trading terms where you just... it only does 2 damage, but you've got a decent board, and you can, you can bump all their minions, then Holy Nova, your stuff gets healed, their stuff dies, and it can be such a powerful turn.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I totally agree with that choice, and then there's of course Northshire Cleric synergy with that. So
yeah, and you've got 2 more board wipes built into Primordial Drake, so between the 2 I've got the Shadow Visions, and it's fun. It's fun. All right, so like Dookie was saying, that's our only homebrew for this week, but we do have our salty card segment back, so let's take a look at what has been getting us triggered this week.
You gotta be kidding me! Masasaru? What? Really?
All right, as always, start us off, Mr. Dookie.
All right, so, like I said, I was playing a lot of Secret Mage, and I was playing against a lot of Secret Mage, and one of my least favorite things to encounter is, well, aside from secrets in general, one of my least favorite things to encounter is that situation where you need to test the secret, but you really don't have the means to test it, like, effectively. And you're pretty much like, if I don't play my decent minion this turn, I'm going to be screwed and I'm going to miss an entire turn. But if it's Mirror Entity, then I'm equally, possibly even more screwed. And, it seems like 90% of the time that's what happens. Like, I don't have a spell to test it. I don't have a small minion to test it. I don't have something on board to hit them with. And that's the situation where you really want to play that good minion. Because you're like, I don't have anything else. I need to play this minion. And then you play it, and then it's like, Mirror Entity. They have it too. And then it's completely... I mean, it's literally just, completely negates what you did. Like, every single bit of value you just got was given to them. So, it's just... I hate that situation, and it seemed to just come up so much when I was playing this week. Mirror Entity. Pain in the ass.
Yeah, no, I totally get it, because, I mean, Mage is in a really weird place to me right now, because it's so, I don't even know how to put it. I don't want to say RNG, but I guess that's kind of what I mean, but not exactly. Like, okay, so there are cards that are pure RNG sort of stuff, like Battling Book. It's not seeing as much play recently, but you've still got Primordial Glyph, stuff like that. So that whole thing's already going on. And then you've got Secrets, which... if you have the means to test the secret and pop it on like a low value target, then you're fine. Then you're 100% fine. If you don't, you almost can't win, like you were saying. So in that aspect of it, I guess maybe it's like high roll luck, sort of, because it just almost depends on what deck you're playing against and what they've drawn.
Yeah.
Because you could be playing against a control deck, and they've only drawn their fatties, and they've been behind the whole game. You're wailing on them with their mana worms, and then you get out a Mirror Entity, and they can't even play a big minion to catch up.
Yeah, exactly.
But on the flip side, maybe they've drawn their Blood Mage Thalanos or whatever to trigger it without much of a problem. So yeah, it just comes down to that. Like, when you're really backed into a corner, you're damned if you do, damned if you don't, because you don't play the minion, you lose.
Yeah,
if you do play the minion, you
exactly.
lose.
I think that's my problem with it. It's when you're already in a pickle that the Mirror Entity can screw you the worst.
Yeah.
Like, it's almost like the Unleash the Hounds thing, It's like I need to go wide right now. It's the only way. I need to get my board established.
It's the only way.
It's the only way I'm going to pull forward. And then you hear the impending roar of doom, and you're worse off than you were before. It's one of those damned if you do, damned if you don't. Like, kind of punishing you for already being in a bad spot. Yeah. And that just feels bad.
Yeah, it's definitely a high roll card, because they could trigger it on something absolutely worthless. Like, if I was playing against a Secret Mage, I could trigger this on, like, Netherspite Historian or something. But there's going to be times where all I've got is Ysera, So you don't know what's going to happen.
You don't want to give them that.
Yeah. No, you really don't. And I mean,
you don't want to give them Ysera.
It's really similar to Counterspell in that same way, only we're talking about spells.
Yeah. And it was actually between this and Counterspell, but not getting a spell off is like, okay, my spell just didn't happen, versus I gave them something. I'd rather just not have something than give them something.
Well, yeah, I understand that, but it can screw you over just as badly. Like, imagine, they've got a stack board with Kirin Tor mages and, like, buffed mana worms, and I'm like, my only chance is this Dragonfire potion.
Right.
Whoops,
and then
it didn't hit. Yeah.
Countered. Yeah.
So, like, in certain circumstances, Counterspell could be worse, so...
Yeah, it actually kind of amounts to the same thing, and really just depends on if you're sitting there with all minions in your hand and no spells to test, or all spells in your hand and no minions to test. So, or not all, but just one. Like, if you have that one minion or that one spell.
Yeah. I know what you're saying.
Yeah. So, Yeah, it really is kind of the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
It's just, I guess psychologically, I'm like, all right, well, I didn't cast that spell, versus like,
Yeah.
all right, well, they have an Ysera now.
Yeah, no, it probably feels worse to have
Yeah.
your minion taken from you. You're like, you paid 3 mana, possibly 0, depending on how
Yeah.
you got that secret out, and now you have my fatty, and that's
Yeah,
not.
exactly.
Yeah, no, trust me, I get it.
Yeah.
All right,
So, what you got for us for your salty
all
card?
right, time for me to get pissed. Here we go. All right, equality.
Ah, I knew
Ugh.
this day would come, and I agree with you.
Yeah, equality. Okay, I usually like to play mid-range, bordering on control type decks. Decks where I'm not full aggro, but I'm also not hand lock. Somewhere in between. And usually your win condition with that is to snowball into the mid to late game with like good value, and nicely statted minions. Just like that Dragon Priest deck I just was showing you about. And the way that I win with that deck is not to not play minions. It's to play minions. You know what I mean?
Right.
I want to keep going, and I should be safe from the checks on going wide, which are board
Right.
wipes. Because I'm playing 5/6s, I'm playing 4/12s, I'm playing big stuff. I've got Power Word Shield, I've got Talon Priest, I'm buffing my minions. They're not getting Flame Striked. I'm good. Except for if I'm playing a Paladin. Okay? Because all that goes out the window. You should think, okay, next time a Paladin does a great equality on you, rather than thinking, okay, all my minions are now set to 1, actually think about how much damage this card dealt.
Right.
Right?
That's
2
a very
mana.
good-
Like, imagine you've got just an Ysera and like an operative or something.
Yeah.
2 minions. This card deals
11 plus 5, 16 damage.
for 2.
Yeah.
Right? What other
Yep.
card in the game does that?
Yep. That's a good way to put it.
Yeah.
I agree, man. As much as I love Paladin, I don't like this board wipe bullshit. That's never been my jam.
Right.
And this pisses me off. Anything that modifies attack, modifies health, this basically says kill all your opponent's minions. Like,
Yeah.
their 1 health is in Hearthstone is dead, basically.
Exactly. And they have so much that synergizes with it. First of all, the Wild Pyromancer combo is absolutely not fair.
Yeah, it's dumb.
That's my most triggering moment when they do it with Wild Pyro. Because they can clear any board in the game with 2 cards and 4 mana.
Because, a lot of the time, it's like an equality consecration combo.
Yeah.
And the thing with that is they do have to blow 2 cards doing that.
Right.
But with Pyromancer...
Well, it is 2 cards because the Pyromancer dies. But...
Oh, that's true. Yeah, no, you're right. I was like, he survives.
But it's
'cause
less
he got
mana,
health.
though.
He goes down to 1. Yeah. It is. It's, what is that, 4? It's 4 mana. 4 mana, wipe the entire board no matter what.
Right, and here's another scenario, too. So, like, I'm just going to keep using my Dragon Priest deck as an example, because that's what's on my mind. But, say I have, like, a decently sized Twilight Drake out, a Draconid Operative, I'm building my board, and he's just, this is a more control-based Paladin, he just keeps making these 1/1s. And now when my minions were lower power, I didn't mind trading with his 1/1s. To make sure that he didn't have a board. But when I'm presenting 9 damage to face, rather than running them all into these weenies, I'm really tempted to just start going face, because how else am I going to win if I don't get his health down?
Yeah,
But equality punishes you for that move, too. Because if you leave his 1/1s open, they can kill anything.
Yeah.
So, that's the problem that I see with it. It's just... It like the way that you get around decks that beat you with board wipes doesn't work against Paladin when they're running equality.
Yeah, and I think the balance to that, and I'm sure you know this, is that Paladin removal is awful.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, I wouldn't say it's too bad, but you actually refuse to use one of Paladin's most effective removal cards, which is Aldor Peacekeeper. The minion might as well be dead.
Yeah. It's because I don't like to follow the rules.
He's such a rebel.
No, but that card, I mean, that card's a great, like, tempo card.
Yeah.
Great mid-range card. It doesn't always necessarily fit into a lot of the Paladin aggro decks I like to make, so I can usually get away with not using it, but it is a good card.
Yeah.
It has made me so mad. How have I not... I think it's because I haven't been playing against a lot of Eldor Peacekeepers since we started the show.
Right.
Because I guess it's just not being run that much.
It's there. It's in there. They may
Is it
just
in
not be getting it. Yeah.
Yeah, it hasn't happened to me a whole lot, or maybe I've just grown numb to it.
You just block it out when it happens to you. But I mean, the types of decks that you run aren't necessarily as punished by Peacekeeper because your attacks are spread out amongst a lot of minions.
Yeah, usually the swarm, and if it's
Right.
not, it's a charge minion that's
Right.
gonna connect anyway.
But when you're playing a deck where your damage comes from less sources but more, then it's like, one of your big heavy hitters is almost useless.
Yeah.
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 Anyway, it's my equality rate.
Equality. It's ridiculous.
It
Two
is.
mana. It's also it makes me mad because I guess I just don't have the mind. I don't think in the way that someone that needs to use equality effectively would think.
Okay.
And whenever I have equality in my hand, because it's in my deck, I'm like, first off, I forget that it makes my minions health. And if I don't forget that, then I never find an opportunity. I'm like, this would always be bad. And it's probably because I'm playing too aggressively.
Right, yeah, and in an aggressive deck like that, I guess it wouldn't be as good, but I still think of it as like, that's how you get around like your Ancients of War, or like when I defend Hargus my Ysera or something. That's how you
your
get
suggestion.
past.
I have one in my Divine Steel Paladin deck.
Yeah.
Because I've got so many weenies in that deck that I can just equality bump a few off and then keep going.
Yeah, and like with Divine Shield and stuff. Yeah. You know where I'm at.
I know where you're at.
All right, so that's what's getting us TO'd. But we actually have for our next segment, we have a little bit of Q&A to do. We asked on Twitter earlier for anybody who follows us if they had any questions before the show. So let's see what we got here. What's up?
You want me to? Oh, okay. So question number one is from Dougie Fresh, who's a frequent viewer. He says, have you ever used a deck that you thought would do terribly but ended up doing well, and or vice versa?
Is that to me, or are you going to take it?
We can both answer it. You can go first.
Let's do it simultaneously. 1, 2, 3. No, okay. I'm gonna have to say for this one, just because, I mean, everybody who watches the show already knows that I totally blew it on this prediction here. It's definitely Quest Rogue. Yeah. Because I was like, nah, this card is unplayable. But in my defense, a lot of people felt like that. And it's still kind of mind-blowing to me that it works. I had to use it. I was using it myself for a while just to, like, be like, wow, I can't believe this. But, yeah, no, it's incredible. I mean, Quest Rogue it may not be, I don't know if it's currently considered Tier 1 or whatever, but honestly, it itself is the reason it's not Tier 1, because it's keeping control decks so in check that everyone had to look for other avenues, and then they just happen to be good against Quest Rogue. But Quest Rogue is there.
You thought it would do terribly, and it ended up doing well.
Yes, yeah. I predicted on the show, I think I gave it like a 2-star rating or something.
Yeah.
To me, like, conceptually, just, repeatedly bouncing low-value minions back to your hand just sounds like the way to lose the game. But it's not at all. I mean,
Rogue finds a way.
It sure does, but, a lot of it did come from Ungoro itself. I mean, the Firefly, the Igneous Elemental, I mean, those are 90% of the time going to be the cards they actually use to complete the quest. And they're the same cards that allow them to keep their engine going, their 5/5 engine going, because they're throwing more back in your hand. So, the deck is insane. It's absolutely nuts. I mean, even in unfavored matchups, if you can get the quest done on turn 4 and absolutely blow somebody out. It's unreal. But I mean, sometimes you are playing the deck that I predicted it to be, which is a deck that does absolutely nothing, just depending on how you draw.
Yeah, that can totally happen.
But that's mine.
I have one for a deck that I thought would do well and ended up doing terribly.
Okay.
Do you remember when Mean Streets came out and we were like, the Paladin 1-drop, small-time recruits, we were like, we're gonna buff our weasel tunnelers, and we're gonna, those things are gonna come
you
out
were
as
supposed to bring that up.
those things were gonna come out as 3/3s, man, because they were gonna get hand buffed and they were gonna die, and they were gonna go on the opponent's deck and they would just draw and it would be, oh, they're screwed. They got the weasel tunneler.
We were so all about the weasel tunneler,
dude. We were like, I don't know. I think Magic has made us feel like a lot of things are gonna be a different power level than they are.
It makes sense to me in my head.
It does. It makes sense.
Drawing a weasel tunneler is not as bad as like Freeze Mage drawing a weasel tunneler,
Right. Because you can use that weasel tunneler. You can like buff that weasel tunneler. and a lot of the time weasel tunneler was going to be free for you because you were going to small time recruits it and just, get it and 2 other 1-drops in your hand,
right.
And then you were going to play Smuggler's Run and
right.
the Goblin Outfitter and
but the deck was hand buff.
The deck was hand buff. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It was hand buff and it was all the 1/1s or 1-drops.
Yeah.
And we thought they were going to come out huge.
Yeah.
And that shit just did not work.
That is actually possibly one of the most disappointing things that's happened in Hearthstone for me.
Yeah.
The Grimy Goons getting shafted on that whole expansion was really lame.
Yeah.
And that whole freaking tired exercise of every deck you fought being Kazakus. Oh, man. That was getting real lame.
Here comes Reno.
Yep.
Every time.
Yep. You're like, I present you lethal. You have drawn 8 cards this game. You have it. Okay, good.
Yeah, cool, great. Also, similarly, Galvadon was another one that I thought was going to be awesome and did terribly.
Yeah, that's sad.
But that one, like, I guess I wasn't as disappointed with because I just felt like the Grimy Goons hand buff 1-drop deck was just going to be so cool. I thought it was going to be so my play style.
It would have been fun. If it worked, it would have been fun.
Fun deck.
Yeah.
But nope.
Yeah, the problem ended up being that you never had enough. If you were trying to run weenies rather than big minions, you never had enough in your hand to where it mattered. Because you're trying to play on curve, and then you're realizing your smuggler's running with 2 minions in your hand, and they're still not good. And that was the problem, So you start putting in loot hoarders, and that's not working, and you're just it's the end.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, so I'll read the next one out. This one's from Kuyoya, who's also a frequent listener, and he asks, "How can a grub like me get good, M9?"
M9 being the more advanced version of mate.
M8. Get it?
M8.
Get it?
Mate. For the uninitiated to scrub speak.
So, I mean, jokes aside, I think this is actually a pretty good question. Just, I was thinking about it, and I'm, anybody who's kind of followed the show because of Dookie and his channel and everything, maybe not, that into Hearthstone, or maybe you're just getting started or haven't even started yet. So,
right, because anyone that's watched me play is probably pretty bad.
I wasn't going to say that.
If they're doing anything, if they're emulating me in any way. So.
All right, so one word. Arena.
Yeah.
Arena.
As much as I hate to agree with that,
yeah,
it's probably true.
I'm just going to assume that you mean free to play. Just, I like to assume that people who are just starting the game aren't willing to pony up any dough for it yet. So
yeah,
it's a little hard at first when you're just starting your quests, doing your daily quests to even do an arena. I mean, you get one free one, but then it's 150. You're probably not going that far for your first few runs. So I have a second suggestion, and it's that either you use a tier list, like have a web page open, and use a tier list from like the Lightforge or Hearth Arena, if that's the way you want to do it. Or there's another way you can do it if you don't mind, having like an integrated application into the client, and it's called Overwolf.
Overwolf's awesome.
Yeah, it's really cool if you're interested in having some pointers as you're drafting arena decks. And what it'll do is it gives you like a little dock, like on the left side of your Hearthstone client, and It's really well done. It's nicely integrated in. It has as you're drafting, it has like little characters from Hearthstone pop up and tell you what they suggest.
Yep.
And this is going off of a tier list that's continuously updated with data from, the top 100 tier list of Arena players. So you'll have, like, at least Starseeker come up and be like, normally I would take this card, but based on what you've drafted thus far, this card's better for our curve, and if you, especially if you're just starting, it's amazing to have that, because you shouldn't just assume that you know how everything should work right away.
Yeah, Arena, using something like that can be a crutch, but if you're using it to understand, if you're reading the explanations for why it's telling you what to choose and when, if you're using it as a tool to learn what's good and what works and why it works, then I think it's a good idea to use. And that's Overwolf. It's Overwolf is like I think it's for a lot of different games. Overwolf extensions, but it's the Overwolf Hearth Arena.
That uses the Hearth Arena tier list. Yeah. So that would be my suggestion. In Arena, you learn a lot of the core basics of the game that are going to apply to Constructed, just like how to trade, like, when to tempo out a minion, even if it doesn't seem like it's the best play, just because you're going to be so far behind. These are the kind of things that you should become familiar with as you get farther in your runs. Your rewards start being excellent. You can eventually be what they call an infinite Arena player, which is where you're getting at least 150 gold back, in addition to the pack that you're getting and the dust and whatever other rewards you're getting. And that is absolutely the best, most money and gold efficient way to expand your collection and then eventually get into Constructed, where you're going to use all of those lessons that you learned plus all the resources that you got.
Yeah.
So that's how you get good M9.
Yeah. Yeah, I want to say, in, like, theoretically speaking, Arena probably is the best way to learn what makes Hearthstone tick.
Yeah.
Like how the game functions on, like, a basic level. Because there's so many frills in Constructed.
Right.
In Arena really boils it down to, like, showing you how minions interact with each other and showing you the value of a spell and whatever. So yeah, no, I agree. I agree with that. Also, aside from that, just patience and practice. Don't assume you know something. Like, look up a good deck and try that first.
We are both really guilty of this, of not wanting to take advice or to emulate decks. We're both really guilty of this, and I try not to be that way, because there's no reason why, if you're just starting this game, you should be a pro at it, and you just have to keep that in mind. Even if you've played another card game, Hearthstone works way differently than Magic, way differently than probably anything that you've played. So just stay humble, don't get tilted, learn the mechanics, and you'll see your gameplay definitely increase.
I think we came in off of Magic and we were like, we can handle this online card game. This would be a piece of cake. And then it's like, why am I losing? I don't understand.
Yeah, I remember the first time that you suggested, you were like, maybe we're not playing it that well. And I was like, no. But then, I've changed how I play the game so much from when I first started.
Yeah, absolutely. The final question in the Q&A
This
segment.
is the best one.
Francesco Gandolfo asks, may I go to the bathroom?
How about no?
Is it an emergency? Can you hold it till the end of the class?
This is the guy. We try to do a Q&A segment. This is the kind of questions we get. No, you cannot go to the bathroom. Now how do you feel? Enjoy holding it for the rest of your life.
Probably feels like he has to pee.
Which is the worst feeling.
It is. I actually have to pee right now. So let's get through these card creation challenges.
All right,
so I can go pee.
We got to speed everything up. Dookie can pee, Francesco can't. All right, here we go. Card challenge. Let's do this.
Prepare yourself for the ultimate test.
All right. So, you posed the challenge last time.
Yep,
So why
make a
don't you-
weapon.
Yep, make a weapon. That was basically the whole
That
prompt.
was it can be for a class that doesn't have weapons, it can be neutral if you want, it can be silly, whatever. Just we were gonna pick the 6 best designed ones.
Right.
So
Yep, and I guess I'll give just a quick overview if we have any new listeners. If you are interested in creating your own ideas for cards, we have the last segment of our show is always our card challenge segment, where we pose like a prompt for you to create a card. We take all the submissions, look through them, we pick the top, as he was saying, the top 6, and we go through them because it's it's just kind of fun to see what people come up with. So our first submission here is from I'm a Dragon, and with an exclamation point. That's why I always do it like that. And we have Ulthalesh Soul Harvester. And it is a 7 mana 3/5 that with text, whenever you destroy an enemy minion, set this weapon's durability to 5, which is its starting durability. And this is a warrior weapon. So when I first looked at this, I immediately thought, that's overpowered, it's completely overpowered. But then I thought about it more, and actually you kind of pointed out to me that it wasn't as overpowered as I thought it was.
what did I say?
Well,
I'm sitting here going, wait, how is that not overpowered?
Well, okay. 7 mana for 3 power is pretty different.
That's really bad. That's
Personally.
really bad.
There's not, there's not really a guarantee that you're going to be able to kill anything with this. I mean, unless you have a decent board presence or there's something really low or a small minion.
Yeah.
And then resetting it back to 5, I mean, it's not always like that great, right? Like I compare the card to Gorehowl. Okay, so Gorehowl is the same amount of mana, but it comes out with 7 power, which there are so many things that you can do with that. You can take out a much bigger minion, or you can actually just close out the game, depending on how much damage you've done.
Yeah.
7 damage is a lot to the face. This doesn't really give you that same free reign. But it's kind of filling the same niche that Gorehowl usually fills, which is not to go face, but to repeatedly kill minions over time. But you don't really have as much reach on minions with this.
Yeah. No, that's a good
Yeah.
point. Gorehowl gives you 7 swings. They're like, what Hearthstone game goes
Right.
7 turns after turn 7? Like
Control Warrior games.
right, Control Warrior.
Yeah.
Right. Sorry, forgot. But yeah, starting with 3 power on turn 7, what can you kill? And your opponent is absolutely not gonna throw anything out with 3 health.
Right. Well,
Like,
I mean, unless they
they're not
kind of have to keep up
Well,
pressure or
I guess
something,
but they're not gonna give you that infinite,
Right.
killing power.
Mhm.
So yeah, if you compare it to Gorehowl and to what Gorehowl does,
Mhm.
it's not even infinite because you have a health pool. Like you can't
Yeah.
just continuously rail on minions and expect to live. Although I don't know, maybe Warrior can.
Well, it depends. Like, and then you got to think of what kind of a warrior deck you would put this in. So, what this could do that Gorehowl necessarily can't do is you could just keep attacking face with this and then refill by hitting a minion. But is it maybe too much mana for that sort of a deal? I don't know.
For 5 hits to 3 times 5 is 15. So it's
Right, but it's across 5 turns though. Usually, in a weapon, you're looking for burst.
That's the thing. Yeah,
Yeah.
it comes out so late and it happens so slowly.
Yeah.
That I don't know. Yeah, this might not be broken. And then there's stuff that destroys weapons.
Oh yeah.
Like,
I mean, there's
and
always
a
that.
lot of people run them because there's a lot of weapons going around.
Yeah.
So
I mean, they just released the best weapon-destroying minion yet with Ungoro, the Gluttonous Ooze, and I mean, it'd come down and give you 5 armor. No, I don't. I think this is. It's really hard to say if this is. I would not put it as overpowered. I don't know about underpowered either. I don't know if it's right at a sweet spot. I'm not really sure, but it's definitely. I really like the design of it. It was definitely like good for like thinking about how this would fit in.
yeah,
Yeah.
very interesting card.
Yeah. So thanks for that submission. Very cool.
Good job. I'm a dragon.
I really like the artwork of the Ulthalish too. It's a cool weapon.
Yeah.
All right, so up next from Dougie Fresh, we have Mace of Odo, which is that's a priest weapon. Yeah, it's priest.
Yeah, it's
hard
priest,
to
yeah.
tell what class they're for because you just get that
Yeah.
tiny little border around the text.
Just the color. Yeah.
Yeah, but okay, so it's a 5 mana 2/2. Whenever a character is healed, the weapon gains a durability.
And I think I remember him saying in the tweet when he submitted this that this was kind of another attempt at tentacles.
Yeah, I saw that too. Like,
Yeah.
basically a weapon with infinite value.
Yeah.
And it's better than tentacles in a way because tentacles, you have to re-equip it. It has death rattle, goes back to your hand, so you're paying 5 mana again. Whereas with this one, as long as you're paying the 2 from your hero power, you're getting the durability back. Mm-hmm. So I definitely see the comparison.
Yeah, it just it might be a little pricey. It's pricey / not powerful enough to make any sort of difference at that point in the game.
So it's already so much better than tentacles, but like it's probably still not good enough. And that just shows you how bad tentacles really is.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, Priest might consider running this just because Priest is so abysmal at dealing damage based on kind of how you've built the Priest deck.
Yeah.
That like Priest can lay it on for a while, but then you can stabilize against a Priest at like 5. You can't do that against a mage because they're gonna fireball you or ping you across 5 turns.
Yeah,
but
absolutely.
Against Priest, you're like, oh, I'm good. He's got no board. He can't do anything to me because he's not running Mind Blast.
Yeah, who would do that?
Yeah. So I could actually see this being cool. Like just the fact that it is Priest, and like you think you're safe from the Priest, and all of a sudden he's got a mace. He's
gonna beat on you for a tiny bit of damage for several turns. Yeah, and I mean you can use it for removal and then heal yourself.
Yeah.
Give another durability. Yeah, I think it might need to be like 3 attack. It doesn't need more durability, obviously, because that's its whole thing.
Yeah. I might even like to see that, like, if it was a 6-3-2 or something, because maybe a 5-3-2 might even still be too good. But I don't know.
Yeah, it is hard to say balance-wise. Yeah. I like the idea. I definitely like the idea.
Yeah, super cool.
It's a very cool idea.
And I always love Priest cards. You know the way to my heart. All right. Next up from Hailung, we have Cataclysm's Edge. 3 mana, 3/2 warrior weapon. Has +2 attack when you have an enraged minion. So I feel like this is pretty comparable to King's Defender in a way. Because King's Defender is a 3 mana 3/2 with a conditional benefit based off of minions with taunt instead of with enrage.
King's Defender becomes a 3/3.
Right. Cataclysm's Edge, if its condition is met, is significantly better than King's Defender because you just equipped a 3 mana Arcanite Reaper.
Yes.
But this was another card when I first looked at it and I was like, overpowered, but then I thought about how hard it is to have an enraged minion, and that is that's key. It doesn't say an enrage minion; it says an enraged minion.
It has to be mad.
Yeah. So this is a build around card because you'd have to run the enraged minions first, and then you have to run conditions to enrage them. So we're talking like whirlwind, inner rage, that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And
yeah. As someone who, in my early days of Hearthstone, I really liked the enrage mechanic, and I really wanted to toy with enrage. It's, this card kind of gives me Spirit Claws flashbacks, because it's like if you meet the condition, it's super broken. Mm-hmm. But if not, it's just kind of whatever. And actually, it's a 3 mana 3/2 weapon isn't bad. We've seen Rallying Blade and Eaglehorn Bow, both of which you can play without meeting their synergy, and they're still fine. So it's not bad as just the 3 mana 3/2, and then it's great when you get an enraged minion. But it's much easier to, as a shaman, on turn 2, hit your hero power, have a spell power totem come out, and then have an insane weapon versus somehow, get a minion and get it enraged out before turn 3, and then put this on and have it survive. Like it's way harder to meet that condition.
Yeah, I agree. I definitely agree. I mean, if it's a build around card though, to where what I mean by that is that you could build a deck where it's pretty easy to meet that condition. But then what you'd have to see is if the deck itself is good because it was built with cards that haven't been good for a while. We haven't seen an enraged deck for a while.
I mean, you'd have to... Is enrage 0 mana?
Yeah.
Yeah, you'd have to throw out an Amani Berserker,
Mm-hmm.
turn 2, Enrage it, and then pray
Right.
to every god that it doesn't die, and it's gonna
Exactly.
die.
You'd have an
So
all-in strategy that would be similar to like what we see right now with the living mana druid,
yeah,
where they are going to come out the gate fast. They're going to hit you really hard, and they just got to hope that the plan that they started with, like almost their starting hand, is going to be able to beat you. Like, because they're not
Yeah.
going to draw that many cards, and I kind of feel like that's the kind of deck that this would make. And
Yeah.
I miss that kind of style of warrior. I mean, it's been a while since we've seen anything that kind of used that sort of mechanic.
yeah,
You know, the cruel taskmaster or the inner rage.
yeah, and it was never used as an aggro mechanic either.
Right.
It
That's
was always yeah.
Yeah.
Because oh boy, did I try to make that work. I think I try that every expansion.
Well, this could absolutely make it happen. I mean, this card
Yeah.
is one of those cards that's powerful enough to make a whole archetype happen. So
Yeah.
definitely
For
cool.
sure.
I like it. All right, up another. Heilung's a pretty consistent submitter, and so is Linus here with Frostmourne. So this is, I don't know what class this is. I guess it's neutral. I don't see a class border.
Or it
so
could be Death Knight.
could be Death Knight. Let's say it's Death Knight in you know, anticipation of Icecrown, which is confirmed,
Yeah.
100%.
Totally.
7 mana, 3/3, Death Rattle. Your hero power becomes summon a 2/2 undead ghoul. So, I like Frostmourne. I like the idea behind this. I love changing hero powers. That's one of my favorite things that's gone from the game, and I hope they kind of bring back. But the card to compare this to is Vine Cleaver. And Vine
Yes.
Cleaver is actually a lot better. Because Vine Cleaver is 7 mana, 3/4, so you got the extra durability, and you get the 2/1/1 recruits when you hit without investing any more mana.
Yeah, they're free.
Yeah.
You get them immediately, and they're free.
Yeah.
So I think this is a little underpowered. You'd have to bring the mana cost down to like 5 or something.
I don't even think this is too overpowered as a 5. Like, maybe you could say 6 just to, like, maybe a 6 mana 3/4, and then I would compare it to, like, Justicar True Heart. You're paying 6 mana to change your hero power to something better,
Yeah.
which I think that could be really cool. But I like the idea of it. You know, you gain the power of the Lich King, you're resurrecting the undead, which
Yeah, totally.
Pretty
no,
sweet.
I love the idea, and I
Yeah.
think that's why we chose it,
yeah,
because
definitely.
it's just conceptually really cool.
Yep, I like it. That's one of my top fantasy swords, right up there with the Soul
Hell yeah.
Reaver.
Soul Reaver is numero uno.
For anybody who's had the pleasure of playing the Legacy of Kain series. All right, moving on. We have one from Steph Van Essen. This one's basically, I think, my pick for my favorite of the submissions, but I think it's a little overpowered. So we have Shard of Volage Mirror, which is another priest weapon, and it's 7 mana 4/2. After your hero kills a minion with this weapon, summon a copy of it. So that's insane, basically.
Yeah, I mean the thing about it is you only get 2 copies because it's
Yeah.
only got 2 attacks, and there might not be good targets, and
Yeah.
it only hits for 4, and you have to take damage. But I don't know. It almost seems kind of like everything with Priest, where it's like it's either insanely powerful or it's just bad.
Well, I don't even see a scenario in which it's bad, because at worst, if there are no targets, it's 8 damage to face. You know, and which is
Sure.
something that Priest is sorely
Priest just
lacking.
doesn't have, yeah.
So any weapon for Priest is just a massive benefit to the class.
Sure.
And 4 power is pretty good. I mean, 8 damage to face, you know. I mean, at 7 mana, it's not efficient, but this is Priest, and they don't hardly do anything efficiently. So, I think I would like this. I would use it. I don't even know
Yeah.
if it would be in a deck. Like, it would almost be like a meta call to see if this would even be playable. Really.
Right. You might actually have to run stuff like Smite or any kind of things that can damage minions,
Right.
so that you can finish them off with this
Right.
if they're outside
Oh
of
my
range by turn 7.
Imagine the synergy with my favorite Priest legendary, Vol'jin.
Vol'jin.
Ugh.
Yeah. Yep.
Just no matter
would
how
be-
big the minion is, I mean, you'd be overkilling it, but who cares? You swap that health
Yep.
with Vol'jin and just
Summon. Yep.
take it. Yeah.
Yeah, so you could play this on turn 7 and then Vol'jin on turn 8 and take whatever you want, guaranteed.
Also, love the lore of this. Like, the whole fact that, it's like, Volage does his thing with a mirror, and clearly you played WoW.
Yeah.
I really like that.
It's super cool.
Yeah. All right, and up next, this was Dookie's favorite. We have Blacksmith's Sword from Mana X.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. You can read this one if you've got it up there.
Yeah,
Since it's
I see it. It's Blacksmith's Sword. It's a warrior weapon. 3 mana, 1/3. After you attack with this weapon, give it +1 attack. So, on paper, it's like, kind of a worse fiery war axe, because it's a 1/3, and then it's a 2/2, and then it's a 3/1. And I think at the end of the day, that might equate to the same amount of damage as Fiery War Axe, but this is
6. Yeah,
but this is 3 mana.
3 turns, yeah.
This is 3 mana instead of 2 mana.
Yeah.
The thing with this card is I just see so much potential within it for a warrior deck, because you've got things like Upgrade and Bloodsail Cultist.
Yeah, Cultist is the one that. Yeah, so you basically, I think this goes in the pirate deck.
Yes, this goes in Pirate Warrior for sure.
Yeah.
Because, every durability you give to this thing makes it that much more terrifying. Mm-hmm. Like, if you can keep this weapon on and keep it around and keep it in the game, the longer you can do that, it's just, the power is almost exponential. Right.
And I just thought of another thing, too, that I don't think we had thought of earlier, is Hobart. Hobart Grapple Hammer would be insane with this, because you'd put it on as a 2/3.
That's right.
And then it's even just buffing its attack that one time escalates the power it can reach.
By its final swing, it's at 4.
Yeah.
So, it seems like, obviously the first turn you put this on, unless there's a target, you go face. Mm-hmm. And then the next turn, it's a 2/2, and that kind of opens it up to being able to maybe kill something. And then maybe you can upgrade it. And it seems like it could snowball, and just like, you always have this thing on, and just really start just piling that damage on your opponent's face.
Yeah. Yeah, I thought it was definitely underpowered until you talked to me about it, and like, I didn't think of upgrading. And that's really where power comes in.
Because it gets scary.
Yeah, for sure.
Like,
definitely.
It's built into it as 6 damage, just innately for 3 mana. Mm-hmm. But anything else you add to it is just making it nastier and nastier.
Yeah. Yeah, I definitely like it too. Very cool. So thanks, Mana X. Thanks for everybody who submitted. If you submitted us a card and it didn't make it in this week, encourage you to keep submitting. We love getting all of your submissions, and I was actually thinking maybe one of these shows will actually do a roundup just of all the cards we've ever got, and just kind of do a whole show, just go through them. Would be fun.
Yeah,
so keep them coming. We love to get your submissions, and to attach any kind of descriptions that you want to them. We love getting them. All right, so up next are our 2 that we submitted, or we created, and yours is first here.
Okay, so nobody did the Warglaives of Azzinoth, so I figured...
They had to be done.
Had to do the Warglaives of Azzinoth. Obviously, they're legendary, because those weapons are legendary, but there's 2 of them. So the first line of text on this very text-heavy card is, you may have 2 copies of this card in a deck. It's a 4 mana, 3/2 weapon, so it's 2 mana more than a Fiery War Axe, which is what you have to compare every weapon to.
Yeah. Yep.
The battle cry on Warglaive of Azzinoth is, draw a Warglaive of Azzinoth from your deck. The death rattle on Warglaive is, summon a 2/1 Flame of Azzinoth, which are the things that Illidan summons when you have him out. So I just basically took from the lore, and I was like, you're going to want to have both Warglaives. During the fight, Illidan throws them down, and they spawn the Flames of Azzinoth, and I just wanted to work all that in and find a cool way to make it balanced. I didn't want to make like I didn't want to make them like a 7 attack thing for like 1,000,000 mana. I wanted them to have the feel of being a quicker weapon.
Mm-hmm. Because they are.
Because they are, yeah. They're like Fury Warrior and Rogue weapon. Oh, and the class is the class was a custom class on Hearth Cards. Hearthcards.net, by the way, which is where most people and where we make the custom cards. Where there was a custom class on there for Demon Hunter, so I was just like, screw it, I'll just make it a Demon Hunter card. My intention, I guess, in a perfect world, I would want it to be a card usable by warriors and rogues, because those are the classes that can use it in World of Warcraft. Well, now I think Demon Hunters can, obviously.
Yeah, I would think so.
I think like monks or something stupid.
I don't know.
That's dumb. But yeah, so I decided instead of it being one card for both Warglaives, I'd make them separate. The first one draws you, the second one. So to balance it out, it would have to be a little more mana, yada yada. Anyway,
yeah,
that's my Warglaive.
I like it. I was saying to you earlier, I feel like if you had to pick one class to put this in, it feels to me like a rogue card. I feel like they're more experimental with rogue cards, or rogue weapons. Warriors are usually just geared towards just go face, but then you get stuff like Obsidian Shard and cool, like, kind of offbeat weapons. They don't usually see play, but I think this would. I really like this. It's not necessarily like an aggressive card. It's like a value-oriented card. You draw a card only from the first one, but still, drawing a card's really powerful, and you're getting the minion. So there's just a lot of value packed into it.
Yep. Yeah, cool. and that was the idea. Wanted it to just be wanted it to be fun. I wanted it to have flair. Wanted it to be balanced. Wanted it to do cool stuff.
It does. You nailed it.
Sweet.
And finally, here's my card, and surprise, it's a priest weapon. So I was looking back through some old WoW gear for some inspiration, and I came across these gems, and this was just like during a highlight of World of Warcraft. They were coming up with super cool stuff, and they came up with this priest weapon that would actually change. It had like an ability on it that would like morph it, or I don't actually remember exactly what it looked like, how it worked in game, but one of them was like the healing one, and one of them was like the damaging one, and that's always been my favorite thing about priest, is like the dichotomy of how different its talent trees are from each other, or used to be. And so this weapon starts out as Benediction, which is on the left. It's a 6 mana 2/3. Double the healing of your spells and hero power. So that's like half of Velen. You're just doubling the healing. And Death Rattle calls forth Anathema. So it's like when it dies, it becomes Anathema.
Right.
And
so
then,
you get this new weapon equipped.
Yeah, it just like your weapon would shatter, and then it would like fly up and just equip itself to your weapon slot there. And then Anathema is a 2/2, double the damage of your spells and hero power. So you're getting the damaging, actually effective half of Velen then. This weapon loses a durability whenever you cast a spell. So basically it's like another way to enable like the sort of Velen OTK deck without Velen, because without Emperor Thaurissan, you can't do it. Like, it's not possible to do the Velen OTK deck without Thaurissan, and he's gone. I don't know. Do you think it's OP?
No, because you only get 2 casts on the second weapon, and what if you have to cast? You have to cast something else. Like, what if you have to Shadow or Death something?
Like,
at that
rather
point?
than or something.
Yeah, rather than do your combo, because you don't have your combo. So yeah, I definitely it takes a lot of timing.
It's absolutely a combo deck that it goes.
A lot of pieces to the puzzle, to put together. A lot of pieces to the combo.
Right.
Doesn't seem broken. Like, obviously the stat line is way under. Yeah. Being good. So yeah, I think as far as like for being combo pieces, I think it makes sense, because what's Valen's? How much mana is he?
He's 7 for a 7/7.
For 7/7. Okay.
And he's 7 so that you can't play him and double Mind Blast in the same turn.
Right, but you can totally do that with this.
You could, but but I actually think if Velen was 6 mana, like say he's a 6 mana 6/6, or even if he used a 6 mana like 3/3, he would probably be too strong because of the ability to deal 20 damage from hand with 10 mana.
Yeah.
Like, so he really does need to be 7. But what I feel like doesn't push this to that same level is how, like, first of all, you don't know when you're getting Benediction. It could be the last card in your deck, and you're going to lose hard if it is. But, you've got 3 turns to get to Anathema. Your opponent has 3 turns to deal with it, set up some kind of weapon destruction. I mean, you'd have to have 2 because the Death Rattle summons Anathema. So you'd have to, kill Benediction and then Anathema.
Yeah.
But, the thing about Benediction, though, is for those 3 turns that you have to hang on and, wail on face or minions just to get that durability down, is at least you're getting the power to keep yourself alive.
Yes.
So,
yeah.
It would be a fun little, mini game to play. I gotta break this staff.
Yeah.
Break!
Right, and you don't really want to be going, face first into minions and taking all that damage as priest, but it does help you heal yourself, so...
Yeah. But then, if you're running healing cards, sure, you could be like, oh, Greater Healing Potion will heal you for 24, but that doesn't affect anything else. If they've got a giant board, it's just like Renoing on an empty board. It's not going to save you in the long run.
It's not going to save you.
So it's still like a balancing act.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's it.
Oh, it's cool.
Me card.
That's a good card. It's a good card you got there.
Oh, thanks, man. I appreciate that. So that does it for our card challenge segment, and consequently our show as usual. But sometimes we forget to do the next challenge, but I'm not going to do that today. I'm issuing.
You got one?
Yep, I've got it. Based on basically what we talked about for the first half of the show today. Make a card based off of an Icecrown boss. Now, I realize maybe not everybody played WoW, but you can always... Arthas is in there. I mean, there's some really good baddies in there. And if you did play, there's so many iconic, just awesome raid fights in there. So, in the spirit of Icecrown, in hopes that that's what we get next, let's make an Icecrown raid boss card.
Calling it right now, you're going to make the vampire guys.
Maybe I'll make Syndragosa, you don't know.
Yeah, no, I don't.
All right. Well, thanks for everybody who came out, watched the show live. Thanks for everybody who's listening to it whenever and wherever you are now. We appreciate it.
Yeah, do us a favor, and if you're on iTunes, give it 5 stars. If you're on YouTube, give it a thumbs up. If you're somewhere where you can rate it in some way, rate it highly.
Unless you didn't like it, then we're sorry.
And just do it anyway. And you can always follow us on Twitter. I'm at DookieShed, and Clash is at Clash with a K and an E on the end, _HS.
Yeah, if that's not complicated enough for you.
You just break
and
it down.
Also, of course, at Salty Dog Podcast.
Yep, at Salty Dog Podcast. And that's the best way to submit card submissions to us, is at Salty Dog Podcast on Twitter. And if you use Hearth Cards, that's what we recommend. Use hearthcards.net to make the custom cards. I hear a lot of people asking how to make them. So,
and also, if you have any questions for us for the next show, for our Q&A segment, shoot those at us on Twitter. We also have our Gmail, saltydogpodcast@gmail.com.
That's right.
All right. Until next time, guys, thanks for watching.
Stay salty.